It's not often that you get a chance to chat with a living legend, but over the course of the next 90 minutes, we're going to do exactly that, in conversation with arguably the greatest player ever to skate for the blue and white, and the best number 13 ever to play the game of hockey. Here's Matt Sundin.
This is Sundin to shoot. Let's go! Sundin going wide. Shoot the shot. Scores! Oh, Sundin gets a goal. Sundin. Sundin walking to the net. This is a brilliant move by a terrific hockey player. Sundin. Sundin scores! That's Sundin. I want a brilliant rush. Point number 1,000 for the Maple Leaf captain. He scores! Number 300 as a Toronto Maple Leaf for Matt Sundin. Center Sundin scores! Holy mackerel! Matt Sundin.
Matt's a frozen lake near your home in Broma and your older brother Patrick. Were these the two biggest factors, do you think, in getting you involved in the sport of hockey?
Yeah, pretty much so. It's simple as that. I think when you're a kid, you always look up to your older brother and want to do what he's doing. And he starts skating, walking down to the lake, and I followed him. So as simple as that, that's how I started playing hockey for sure.
How did Patrick handle your success as the two of you got older?
He got very upset.
Really?
To start, no. He was better than me for a while, but I actually, around 12 or 13, I was a lot better than he was as a player too. So there was always fight, always like brothers fight, I think, but in a good way. He used to beat me up, and I took it out on my younger brother, and he didn't have anyone after that. So all in good spirit, and we had a great growing up. Our parents drove us everywhere. All three of us played hockey and played any sports that we wanted to, so we were very fortunate.
How active beyond the driving were your parents? Did they have to push you at any time in terms of steering you in a proper direction when maybe you needed it?
I think they did in a critical time. I remember actually being 14, 15. I think there's a window there where when you grow up, where all of a sudden you get the interest of girls, and there's your friends are starting to go out on weekends, and you have to go yourself to the hockey rink at 10 on a Saturday night. So I think my parents at that point said, you know, if we're gonna be there and drive you all over the place, we need you to focus on your school, and you know, if you want to continue to play hockey, we want you to put a good effort in. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do it yourself. So they helped out when it was kind of that critical hump to get over. They did a great job.
Is there one of the parents that you get your personality from? Are you a bit of both, do you think?
I say more my mom, actually. I think my dad is the softer one, and I think my mom she's a little tougher actually, and it's got stronger will. So I think I'm more like my mom actually.
And a lot of us would find that surprising because our perception of you is as a lower-keyed person, and certainly strong, but not as loud and out there as perhaps some other hockey players we've known in Toronto. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, but I think there's to me, strong or quiet and the way you're saying, I think having the drive and all that is inside too. It's something you build up and that you learn as you grow up too. And I think I've always had that, even though I've been soft-spoken.
Sundin, and Roberts is catching up. Sundin gets in. A backhand coming. Scores! And Sundin, with that fabulous backhand of his, got room to rip it, and rip it he did.
That great backhand that you brought to Toronto, where did it find its beginnings way back when in Sweden?
I think I've learned it as my career went on, or I had coaches as young tell me you need to be able to shoot both ways, have a good a right-hand shot, but also be good with the backhand. And then turning pro, I actually learned to play with a little bit of a straighter stick in the beginning of my career, and that helped me work on my backhand too. So, and a lot of practice. Just like anything else, there's no real secrets. You need to practice a lot.
There was always talk in Toronto that maybe you would have been better used on the wing, as good as you were in the middle. I'm sure you didn't want that to happen. Did you ever consider playing the wing as opposed to playing down the center?
I did start off my career as playing on the right wing, and I didn't have a problem with that. I think in the National Hockey League, if you want to have the puck a lot as a forward, I think you need to play at center, and it's just a different way of game when you're on the wing. There's more parts of the time of the game where you're actually waiting or try to get in a position. You don't hold the puck or control the play, where as a center, you get involved in the play right from the back from your own end, and you're more the go-to guy to give the puck and control the play. That's why I kind of like to play center, and I think I had my best years both in the national team and in the NHL as a centerman as well.
It's hard to think of you at one point as being a Montreal Canadian fan, but I think Mats Naslund had that effect on you. Tell me about your idolization for him and how important he was to you as a young man.
Mats Naslund was a huge idol. Obviously, Boris Salming growing up, I enjoyed watching. Kent Nilsson, who was an unbelievable talent to play in the National Hockey League too, was people that I idolized. And when I grew up, we wasn't able to watch the NHL so much. It was more the national team, but those guys were far away in a different league, and it was tough even to dream about being able to get there.
You had a chance to play against all three of these guys. That had to be a thrill?
Yeah, and with them too in the national team, all three of them. And I told Mats Naslund when the first time I was with the national team that he was my idol, and big thrill. And that's one of those things that keeps you driving hard, I think, and makes you realize that you succeed too when you get to the point where you're actually playing with your idols. It's a great feeling. Was it about the age of 17 that a possible career in the National Hockey League took root with you, do you think? I think so. And as I said, it's a critical time, I think, when you're 15, 16, whether or not you're going to continue to play hockey or continue to do something else. And I did get some recognition when you're 16, 17. You get to represent Sweden in certain junior national team tournaments and so forth, and all of a sudden you have some scouts that come and see you, and you kind of get a feeling that maybe there's something more than just playing in Sweden and representing your hometown. So, yeah, I would say around 17, it was an important time. And you get a chance, before you come to North America, to play as a teenager with grown men in Djurgården. How much of a transition was that for you? I would say it was critical for me, and at the time, Djurgården was by far the best team in Sweden. A lot of older players, some of them former NHL players, and they were actually very hard on me when I broke in there, and being a #1 pick almost at the time, too. they taught me that it's not only about talent. They really helped me work on to get physically strong enough to play in the highest level against men, and also an attitude to come to the rink and work hard every time and have a good attitude. So they really, my only year with Djurgården really helped me to raise the level of my game and the standard.
You win a championship that year?
We won the Swedish championship, and not much because of me. I think I played, I was dressed 34 games out of 40, played on the third line, and got to play a lot in the playoffs. I scored 7 goals in 9 games in the playoffs, but the coach said he saved me for the playoffs. He didn't play me a whole lot during the regular season, but great experience, and it really helped me when I turned pro.
And you get noticed in North America. How much of an eye-opener was the 1989 draft in Minneapolis for you and your dad who made the trip over to the States?
It was an eye-opener for Sweden, I think, and no one really in hockey realized what the draft was. It was the first time I think a Swedish player actually went to the draft, and I remember going with my agent, my father, and it was all new for us, and it was new for the media in Sweden. Actually, it became big news, but it was a learning experience for Sweden as a hockey country too.
Were you comfortable with the expectations that went with the first ever European going first overall? I mean, you were a pioneer, much like Borja was in his time. And
not until I got to Quebec City, where I started my career, I realized what hockey means in Canada too. It's what soccer is in Spain or in Italy or in England. There's a culture and a religion and a tradition there that we don't have in Sweden the same way. Sweden is a great sports country, but it's more a general, different kinds of sports, and Canada, it's a lot more focused on hockey.
Swedes as well, personality-wise, and I don't know if this is the way all of you are brought up, but the culture is different. You're not as out there. You're very gracious, very understated. Do you think that caught a lot of us over here, the North American media, by surprise?
I think it's in good and bad. I think that's not only great with that. I think a lot. You're right. I think a lot of Swedes are very drawn back and modest and don't say a whole lot. I think it's a different thing when Swedish players come on the ice. I think you have the same drive, the same will to do well and compete and all that. It just comes in a different package than maybe an American and a Russian or many Canadians, you know. And I think that's why a lot of Swedish players are very popular too in teams. They're normally very good team guys and fits in well in a group.
6 Swedes went in the first round in the draft in Minneapolis. They win the World Junior Championship in January. How does a country of 8 million people continue to produce such outstanding hockey people and personalities?
It's an ongoing process, obviously, but the Swedish Ice Hockey Federation the last 6 years have made a real commitment to work with their youth and try to bring in the kids when they're 15, 16 to a program. They gather them for the whole country of Sweden, all the best 15, 16-year-olds, and they teach them how to train, how to eat, how to prepare to become a good player, and really all the work they need to do to get to the next level. And that's why I think Sweden won the World Juniors this year. They were in the finals the year before that, and are continuing to produce great young players.
When you get a chance to settle down just a bit, do you see a future in international hockey for you to give back to Sweden? You've won World Championships, you've won an Olympics.
Yeah. I think I am actually part of the Swedish Ice Hockey Federation and Marketing Committee this year. Sweden hosts World Championships in Stockholm and in Helsinki, and also 2013, so I'm a little bit part of it. It's been nice to take a couple steps back from hockey. It's been so much, and it's been consuming my whole life for as long as I lived so far. So I'll always love the game of hockey, and I'm sure I'll be back in hockey somehow down the road. But right now it's been nice to take a few steps back.
Let's go back to age 19. You come to Quebec City. How big a transition was that for you, not only as a player but as a person, to come to the city of Quebec and get introduced to the NHL?
Well, it was a great adventure, leaving the room in my parents' house right out in the big world, coming to Canada, and then realized that everybody spoke French. But it was great. Young team. I think the average age was 21 or 20 at the time. guys like Owen Nolan, Joe Sakic,